SmackDown, starting in 2024, will be on the USA Network. Um, SmackDown now back on cable TV. Interesting choice, considering that now WWE is exclusive to the USA channel. But I'm assuming they paid them like a shitload of money to do it. So
Yep, $1.4 billion deal. The other name, the other name that was in this potentially where SmackDown would end up was Amazon. Um, and SmackDown as a live show, unless Amazon changes its how it delivers live programming drastically, it's not a viable option for SmackDown. I will say that I'm kind of surprised that they went for SmackDown too. That, you know, like, we had this obvious choice, like, staring us right in the face, but we didn't think that it could be a possibility because, we thought that, they wanted to be on two different networks.
right.
Uh, I was kind of hoping for PBS.
The same channel as Sesame Street.
Sesame Street's on HBO now. Where have you been for the last couple of years?
They still put it on PBS.
No, they don't.
Okay then, never mind.
Sesame Street is paid cable now. Oh man, the world we live in.
I really,
But
I especially like that Game of Thrones episode of Sesame Street.
Game of Scones.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Part of, part of me was kind of hoping for, TNT.
Oh
Just
my
to
god.
fuck with Tony. I mean, what? Oh, I mean, don't ever put it on Sci-Fi again. I mean,
Is the Sci-Fi Channel still the Sci-Fi Channel?
yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
With Rupert Murdoch stepped down from being the CEO of Fox, and and Fox didn't want they just didn't want SmackDown anymore after the deal expired, which is it's an interesting thing unto itself, because they worked, they got ratings for Fox.
They definitely did.
And they just didn't think they were worth what they were asking for. And I can guarantee you that there's a lot more included in this deal than just SmackDown's broadcasting rights.
Right.
So, I mean, aside from USA, and every other network I'm thinking of is either owned by Fox or Warner.
There's only like 3 of them now, isn't there?
Yeah, and I mean, aside from ESPN, I don't think there was any other place for it to go. Um, that reminds me. I have more info on AEW coming to Max.
Well, we'll get to AEW in a minute. Right now, I think we should talk about Elimination Chamber coming to Australia.
Coming to Australia. Oh, wait.
They're going down under, and mommy is always on time.
They're coming to Australia.
Today. Uh, they're keeping up with these, stadium shows outside of the country that honestly has been wildly successful for them. Whether it's because these countries don't get PLEs often, or because, it's been the pandemic, they haven't been there in, upwards of 4 years. But,
But now you know what that means, right? It
AEW.
means no. It means getting up at 4 a.m. to watch it in the eastern United States. You only 1 a.m.
Well, I mean, for crazy people like yourself that have to watch it live, but I'll probably wait until, I wake
Oh,
up and watch it at, 8 o'clock my time.
I'll put on Peacock as I go to sleep, and whenever I open my eyes in the middle of the night, I'll just try to pay attention before I end up going back to sleep.
I mean, depending on what the card is. I mean, last time they had there was in Australia for PLE was Triple H versus The Undertaker the last time ever, until they did it a month later in Saudi Arabia.
I keep thinking Goldberg Undertaker was Australia. No,
No.
Saudi Arabia.
Um, what I think the Elimination Chamber is always the show that is outside of America for some reason.
Who knows? Maybe it's got something to do with deathmatch wrestling.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll see Joe Bateman.
Hmm. Don't go fucking spiders.
Uh, it's
Oh,
I'm wondering, for shows for PLEs that wouldn't be considered stadium shows stateside. They're stadium shows outside of the U.S. That's something that fascinates me.
I don't understand.
You know, like Royal Rumble is a stadium event. WrestleMania is a stadium-worthy event here in the States.
Yeah.
An event like Elimination Chamber, a mid-level, PLE, is it's arena worthy, not
Right.
stadium worthy. The fact that the fact that other countries are willing to put these what used to be stupid events that had the tag in your house before it, and now they're
It's not
they're gonna
exactly
go in.
it's not the paid preview at the PLE. It's the name WWE, and that they're coming, and that you get to see, you know, all the WWE superstars that they've been wanting to see. It's just if it was WWE in your house, beware of dog. it would still sell out because these people haven't seen these wrestlers in such a long time, or in such a big event like this.
Yep. Fair enough. It's the same. It's the same logic for Wembley Stadium. Okay.
But oh, you had some news on HBO Max and
Yes. So it's been announced that what we thought was going to happen is not going to happen initially. AEW will likely end up streaming their pay-per-views on Max. Um, Max is introducing a Sports Plus tier for an additional $10 a month. I don't know how that's going to equate to the people who already had Max for free because they were HBO subscribers.
but
But AEW is not going to be part of that initially, which that in itself, the sports tier, I believe launches. That's gonna launch before the end of the year. Um, I would I would guess that by this time next year, I think we'll be 1 month into AEW streaming their pay-per-views on Max, but the rest remains to be seen.
oh, what was seen this last Wednesday was Stadium Grand Slam. It's Stadium Grand Slam, right?
No, an AEW Dynamite Grand Slam
Dynamite Grand Slam. There you go.
at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
And I watched the show. Eddie Kingston versus uh, Antonio Itacanoli was fantastic. Um, fantastic moment for Eddie. Fantastic moment for the people. And my feelings were, for every 10 things AEW does wrong, they do one thing right in that moment. That being said, the rest of the show I felt was all wrong.
Oh god. Oh my god. You know, I usually always have the option of going to Grand Slam, considering it's literally 15 minutes away from me. Yeah, and last year it was something to watch. It really was. This, if the next episode of Botchamania isn't exclusively Grand Slam botches, I'm going to be very disappointed. I had a friend there live who, as much as it was a great moment for Kingston, the guy, as my friend said, "Yeah, okay, the crowd loves Kingston, but I'm over it. I'm over Eddie Kingston at this point." Like, Kingston hides being gassed very well, but when your finisher is a back fist, um, yeah, it and I thought they made a mistake in saying where Eddie won the New Japan Strong title. Didn't you win it stateside, not in Japan?
No, he wanted a Korakuen Hall.
Ah, well.
That is the one thing that bothered me about the match was that it was title versus title, And since Cannoli is not a New Japan wrestler, so you knew he wasn't going to win that championship. You knew Eddie was winning.
I mean, if Moxley and Phoenix had gone on first, maybe we would have thought that, oh, what a treat. Claudio's going to go to Japan for a little bit. But
Um,
no.
no. That being said, you got Guevara turning on Jericho, in a very WrestleMania 19 esque way, which would have been really cool if Sammy wasn't wearing the exact same design trunks as Jericho had in that very match with Shawn Michaels.
Which is odd enough because Jericho was wearing pants, was wearing full trunks in that match.
Yeah, but the top part, the 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 trunks part, they were inspired by Jericho's WrestleMania 19 deal.
I mean, that's not a lot of space to work with.
I mean, it's not,
You know?
but why turn Sammy heel? It
Well,
just doesn't make sense to me.
I can tell you for I can tell you for a fact that he was not over with the crowd whatsoever.
I felt like he was getting over as a face, but they, especially after the Four Pillars match, it seemed like they were going in a good direction with him, but then all of that died because Jericho wanted him for the match with Suzuki at Forbidden Door, and then he just got kind of lost in the shuffle, like he always does. AEW dropping the ball. And now they made
And
him join the John Callis family, so.
and I mean, and let's not hide facts here, but Jericho ain't the Jericho we want at
No.
this point. This is Dad Bod Jericho,
Yeah.
and he gasses up way more quickly. I mean, when he went for fuck the
Lion Soul?
yeah, the Alliance Salt, the Acai Moonsault, I thought he was gonna break his fucking neck. It almost looked like he couldn't get the full rotation, and he just managed to at the last minute. And I mean the ending spot was, I think, the only time the crowd popped. But when you're stealing spots from Randy Orton, there's a problem.
Right.
Because that was clearly a Randy Orton inspired spot.
You know, it's okay to. What's the word?
Pay tribute,
Tribute things,
honor, pay
honor
homage,
them, do a
but you got to
version
carve
of
out.
it that is well done, that kind of leads to it, but isn't, exactly it. But when you do things like this, the way that they did it, and I'll put this an example with the MJF, segment before the match where he parodied the Bret Hart segment. Um, it just becomes a parody. It's a funny haha. It doesn't become. It doesn't make it mean. By doing it the way that they do it, it doesn't make it mean anything. It's just copy and paste something in a way that wasn't as well done as its predecessor. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, yeah, and there's a couple of things I can say about the whole MJF match when we come to it as a New Yorker. So, if you get shots like that, you have to at least know that you've carved out your own identity, so at least people can say, that you're not trying to, be a carbon copy.
Right. And the only thing that Sammy Guevara going to the Don Callis family, the only person I see that's benefiting at this point was Daniel Garcia, because he looked displeased with Sammy. It could go somewhere that puts Garcia in a positive light, because Sammy is fucking buried at this point, in my opinion.
I mean, you're gonna. I mean, as long as Garcia gets rid of that stupid fucking dance and fucking made Tony do before they went to taping Rampage.
He better continue doing that dance. That's the only thing that's getting him over right now.
Well, then you know what? They need to bring in Alex Wright then, or at least Disco Inferno.
Oh God, never Disco Inferno. Again, I thought they made a wrong decision with Tony Storm. I thought that match was great. I loved the kiss between her and Soraya
Oh,
because
God.
it made sense. Because if you're an actress, well, where does the climax come? With the kiss, and then it ends. Watch for the shoe. But they messed it up. They didn't give us what we wanted. Soraya is still the champion.
Yeah, and not to mention Soraya shouldn't have the belt in the fucking first place.
I'm fine with her winning the championship at All In, but after that moment, okay, you gave her the moment. Now get the belt off her because there's people that deserve it more than her. You know what I mean?
I mean, yep. And I have to say, I wasn't sure how it was being portrayed in the arena, but on television, it came on in that glorious black and white, that shattered starlet, and it's something that by all means should not work, and it does. And
Tony's one of those people where the gimmick that she had before this was getting over and it was working, and then she changed over to this, and it works even more.
Yeah, Tony has a lot of luck when he lucks into these gimmicks, because let's face it, a lot of them are not planned in how they get older.
No.
I mean, for anybody that hadn't seen Tony Storm before, 2 weeks ago with the chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. They would have said, "Oh, she's British."
Right. People still think she's British.
I mean, it's safe to say that we're not her only fans anymore. I'm sorry, I had to get that in. It's the whole, and this is a bit before your time, but Sunset Strip, Nora Desmond. That's the primary inspiration for the Shattered Starlet the way past her prime Starlet too, which is astounding because Toni Storm, Toni Storm is on her way to her prime.
Toni's not even in her 30s at this point. I don't believe.
Yeah, she is. She is going to have so much more success now because it's this you know she clearly loves this gimmick.
She found her niche.
Yes, and when you love what you are doing, the fans are gonna love it too because they know it's genuine. They know that you're giving them everything to entertain them.
Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix.
Oof.
I didn't. Okay, so at the very beginning of the match, you could obviously see Moxley was not in the best place. Something did happen to him. You know,
Uh,
all
he
respect to him, he finished the match. Apparently, it was his call for Bray to win the title off of him. For whatever reason in that moment.
you know
Um, I mean, details could come out later about more about that, but I'm not entirely sure. It does seem like he just came out with a concussion. Thank God. Um, is this maybe a sign that, Jon Moxley needs to slow the fuck down?
um
Or is it a sign that Rey
I was
Fenix is, maybe not the safest?
it it was weird because it seemed like Mox was coming in from the crowd and going up the ramp just so he could come down again. And like, why is Mox stalling for time here? Um, and that that 2 count and before the final 3 count was, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know if that was Remsburg fucking up, but he literally stopped at 2, even though the shoulders were down. It's one thing to screw up a count with shoulders up,
Right.
but Mox was down. There was there was no need for that additional spot. Um,
It was
when they went,
unnecessary, and it could have
yeah,
ended up more
yeah,
dangerous than it could have been.
um, yes, he was still in the ring. When they went to commercial, they uh, Mox did get up under his own power during the commercial. Um, um, he's he said he's all right. Um, Dave Meltzer apparently spoke with Moxley and told him that the 2 pilot drivers didn't hurt him. Uh, but he it was inaudible. Um, I don't know if Phoenix actually winning was intended. Um, but Moxley Moxley called for called the audible um, in the ring. I think now the most important thing, Mox needs to stay out of the ring, take time off. I think he needs to take at least 6 months, if not more.
He definitely needs
Yeah.
a break.
Yeah. I mean, he was literally carrying the company on his back after Punkgate.
Right.
Um, and funny enough, the same friend I had that went to Grand Slam went to a festival in Chicago last week, and one of the rules was no discussing CM Punk until he apologizes. Um, but Mox, you're not going to hear this. Yeah, we're you know we're two clubs from separate sides of the country, but take some fucking time off, man. For the love of God, go be with your kid.
Um, Another interesting little piece of news that came out of that match. Stevie Richards does a YouTube show where he explains um, things that go wrong in the ring and explains why they went wrong, how they went wrong, and what could have additionally gone wrong if the other actions weren't taken. And he did a video on Moxley and Phoenix, and AEW put a flag on the video and took it down. Uh, and to say Stevie Richards was not happy about this is uh, saying the least of it. I'm not sure if you saw that or not, Scooter.
Uh, I have seen it. Um, yeah, this is basically
Cinnamon
this is basically being I was actually going to say Shane Douglas's failed mid '90s WWE run, where he would grade everybody when he was Dean Douglas. Um, Stevie Richards, probably one of the more entertaining personalities of pro wrestling, one of the most underestimated, undervalued talents, and never get the big never like he could have gone so much bigger, especially as Steven Richards when he was with Right to Censor. I mean, hell, THQ thought enough to substitute him for Big Show in No Mercy on N64. Um, it's going to be interesting to see because, as I mentioned before, Botchamania is almost going to be all exclusively Grand Slam. Um, and AEW, at least for the most part, I don't think flags them, but Botchamania does have a tendency to re-release their videos, and I don't know if it's on purpose or if they got flagged. Um, but
Do you think we'll see a Stevie Richards and Cinnabuggle tag team match against Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone?
I'd be happy if we just got something with Stevie Richards and RJ City.
That would be, yeah, I'd be happy with that. Alright, and the other Botchamania thing, you mentioned Adam Cole running down to the ring to help MJF.
Uh,
Slipping, falling, hurting his
no,
ankle.
he didn't slip. He didn't fall. He jumped.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was no accident. It was the landing. Um,
he went to the hospital afterwards.
Yep. I mean, and he was clearly limping around.
Yeah,
First of all, as a New Yorker, when it comes to sports teams, you pick. You don't root for all sides. MJF did a very big tactical no-no when he came out with every New York sports team patch on his jacket. That's the equivalent of a black cat crossing your path while you're walking under a ladder and breaking a mirror at the same time. I love the fact that his graphics were in the color of the Mets, even though their season was the drizzling ships. Yeah, the camera was in the wrong place in a lot of times. I mean, like, they got away with the referee putting the diamond ring in Joe's hand. They just barely, because it's a almost blink and you miss it moment. They did not get away with the camera guy keeping the referee out of the ring when he was literally on one knee, just phased. It was, oh my god. Oh. You know, I love the fact that they did a whole tribute that the first time we ever saw Samoa Joe and MJF on TV together, back when Joe was in NXT, and MJF was part of his security.
right.
This was not a match MJF by any means should have won. Yet he did. Was that the most convincing way? Honestly, I think being able to choke out Samoa Joe when you're a tiny guy, that kind of makes Joe look like a little bitch. Especially when he's doing all the heel shit, and then Max does the heel shit right back. And keep in mind, Joe gets up like seconds after the bell is called for.
That's AEW logic.
And the fact that Joe that Max earned Joe's respect because he was able to out heel him. Okay, that's something that's a bit different. I want to know what fucking hospital Roderick Strong was at, because believe me, I've been to plenty of hospitals in the area, and that wasn't anything, any hospital I know. When Roderick had the bed going up and down, it was making the most peculiar noise. I thought my TV was busted. I was like, my God, that thing needs to be oiled. A hospital bed doesn't go clink, 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 clink when it goes down. My God. Ugh.
I hate the fact that Roderick Strong is basically just comedy fodder at this point. And Matt Taven and Mike Bennett are just little buddies. I mean, Mark Tatum was literally praying the rosaries for uh, for
Oh my
Roger
God.
Strong.
I have to say, I love the Kingdom's promo when they were talking about the match Rampage, the 4-way tag team match. Like, we're gonna do 3 things. We're gonna punch him in the wiener. Like, has that really been one of their lines this whole time?
Not that I remember.
We're gonna punch him in the wiener. Yes, because nothing says fear me like I'm gonna punch you in the wiener. In fact, I'm pretty sure that was Oscar Mayer's original slogan.
Fear me or I'll punch you in the wiener.
I mean, either that or, you know, they were just telling us how Maria made Mike fall in love with her.
Will you stop it?
Needs a good wiener punch every once in a while.
Well,
And now I'm thinking like, okay, next week, Tony Storm is going to say, I'm gonna punch her in the tits, or I'm gonna punch her in her twat. It's gonna be a surprise twat punch. Oh my God, they've
will
gone
you stop
insane.
it?
They've gone insane.
The show Grand Slam did decent numbers in the ratings. A little lower than last year, but same difference, I would say. Um, they this show was set up for 11,000 fans. They drew well. Let me rephrase this. Arthur Ashe Stadium is a 23,000 seat arena.
3,000 for and that's when the U.S. Open
Right.
is there.
This show was set up for 11,000 fans. They only drawed 9,000.
The the upper decks, from what I was told from my friend there live, were basically empty.
Yeah, because
And
more than half the arena was empty.
I here's the thing. Yeah, it's airing live at 8 p.m. It goes to 10 p.m. And then they're gonna tape 2 hours of Rampage, or at least an hour worth, because they taped some of it beforehand. Uh, People are not gonna want to. A lot of people didn't stick around uh, for the rest of Rampage. I mean, most stayed to see Sting, and then they did the smart thing and got the hell out.
At this point, the Young Bucks and Hangman Page versus Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. It's not the draw it would be in a 300-seat arena in Ring of Honor.
Cage, Page, Rage, and Nick Gage. It's rhyme time. And I mean, okay. I mean, yes, we get Mike Santana. Yes, because I mean, I would have loved it more if he went for Tito Santana Jr. Tito Santana Jr. Tito Santino. Tito
Yes,
Santana.
Santino.
Tito Santino. Yes.
the son of Santino Morella's sister, that was Miss WrestleMania.
I'm I'm surprised he didn't choose Carlos for a name. Uh,
What I'm
but
getting at is, 9,000 people in a 23,000 seat arena, possibly more considering, the setup. That's not a good thing. And I believe we talked about this last week. They only did 2,500 fans in Cincinnati. It's a matter of what are they doing to draw these people in, and they're not. I mean, people. Okay, people will come and see MJF, but MJF isn't on the show every single week, and he wrestles even rarer. Um, there are no rivalries in the company right now that you could say, "Ooh, I'm hyped for this," or "I want to see this." I mean, this Grand Slam show, there was two matches that I was genuinely interested in seeing, and that was Tony Storm and Saraya, and MJF and Samoa Joe. I didn't even know that Eddie Kingston was wrestling Claudio until they announced that until they came out. So, ironically enough, it was the match I enjoyed the most.
uh, I can say that even though it was 9,000, and when Arthur Ashe Stadium is set up for anything that's not tennis, and you know, 50% attendance is good. Um, Also, you have to take into account the infrastructure of the town they're in. Arthur Ashe Stadium is literally located at a subway stop in New York City. So, yeah, it is Arthur Ashe Stadium and Citi Field are the two most easy to access sports venues in New York City, more than Yankee Stadium, because let's face it, people don't want to go to the Bronx on a good day, let alone, you know, I just hate the fucking Yankees. So you kind of have to take that into account. This time, it's an exception. It's not a rule. Um, I mean, it's it's nothing. 9,000, nothing to sneeze at, but uh, you know, you know, it, it's it, it's a it's on a decline. Like, and this goes back to what you said at the start. For every you know one thing they do right, they do 10 things wrong.
Right. And I told somebody that jokingly while I was watching literally right after the Eddie Kingston match. I said for every 10 things that they do wrong, they do one thing right. And it was just a joke that I said. Then I watched the Jericho match. Then I watched the Moxley match. Then I watched the Tony Storm match. And then I was like, shit, I'm actually onto something. it's Do you think that the fact that these shows are annual is something, because like you said earlier, we as wrestling fans, we are somewhat complacent. We're easily discourageable. Um, okay, AEW is going to be at Arthur Ashe Stadium. They come every year. Well, I could miss this year. I'm okay with missing this year. It doesn't seem that good of a show, so I could maybe go next year. Or I know they're going to be in the general facility in the next 6 months. I could catch one of those shows and maybe pay less to be at that show. Do you think that that's something that plays a factor in them getting lower and lower attendance for every show?
Um, I think there's some truth to that. I also think it's kind of a bit of a vanity thing because there's Arthur Ashe Stadium, and if the WWE wanted it, they could do a Raw there. They don't want to because they would probably end up only having enough seats for maybe about 5,000 fans with everything. There's a reason WWE doesn't go there.
Right.
AEW seeing an opportunity like, oh, guess what? A you a the number two brand, number two promotion in the country is going to be in Queens. The second home of ECW, and it's going to be in a place that it's never had it before. You know, and, and because back in the 70s and early 80s, the Sunnyside Gardens in Queens was the WWE's home away from home, in addition to Madison Square Garden. Uh, so, and this is one of the things Tony, I think, does right in terms of business. He looks for where they could go that doesn't necessarily necessarily hasn't had wrestling before or hasn't had it in a while. But the thing about that is, having a consistent schedule is not Tony's. It's not a skill of Tony by any means. So again, we're back to this. How much of this is Tony Khan's vanity, and how much of it is actual business acumen?
Right. And I'm not just saying, Arthur Ashe in New York, but I'm saying this for every show. Because
Yeah,
now, All In is going to be a Wembley exclusive pay preview every year.
which is
Um,
the wrong thing. Absolutely wrong.
WrestleMania is not an event of an exclusive event that's to one place. It goes everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you don't do that because just logically, it's going. The attendance is going to drop. Whether it was 80,000, whether it was 70,000. If they get 40,000 next year, I would be surprised.
and the other thing is that I think AEW being there has kind of been tainted thanks to Punk. So it's like, oh, great, wrestling's at Wembley Stadium, but it's AEW. Oh, all right, fine, I'll go. You know that's gonna be the feeling next year.
Right. You know,
It's wrestling in Wembley Stadium. The promotion is irrelevant.
AEW, the name of AEW isn't enough to get people to come into the door. They need they need something to get the people through their door, and they're not doing that right now. Whether Tony Khan believes that or doesn't or whatever has yet to be seen. There, people aren't like I told you off here. I'd like to go to Raw on Monday. Why?
Yeah, there you go.
Because it's the name of WWE. I know that I'll be seeing WWE superstars, but on not knowing that full card, not knowing, if certain people will be there, I still want to go. AEW Full Gear, their pay preview is going to be in not Ontario,
The Kia
the
Forum.
Kia Forum in November. And I literally told you before the show, I don't want to go to that because there's nothing I want to see that they've done.
And but I still hate the name Full Gear for a pay per view.
So yeah, it's they definitely have a problem, and unless they get another CM Punk quality wrestler, they are going to continue to have those problems. All right, I think we should wrap up this interview. This
This
episode.
interview. Yes. Oh, thank you very much for having me here.
Let's wrap
Oh
up this episode. Um,
I
thank
gotta
you
take a crap. All right.
Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, go on YouTube Castbox. This is sponsored by Real Energy and Real Coffee. Join us this Tuesday as we interview Morphy Madsen. This Wednesday as we interview Dakota Duke. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Instagram, and Thread. Follow me personally on X at JamesJ993. Where can we find Scooter?
As always, find me on X at Scooter Dust. Keep an eye out to social media for the future of the remix. It will eventually come back when I fucking feel like it. And, of course, revel in my Dungeons and Dragons antics. Our Season 2 campaign is wrapping up soon. Well, with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons plan, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
For Kaliko Yachting Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.